Ukrainian forces decided to urgently evacuate equipment and personnel after the first attack, but did not anticipate that there would be multiple attacks and consequently lost 2 vehicles. The attacks were objectively monitored. The Russian UAV operator flew over the pickup truck belonging to Ukrainian forces on the other side of the bridge. He managed to jump off the back of the pickup in the final seconds. However, the driver was too late and couldn't do the same.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Sumy region. Strikes targeting Ukraine's infrastructure, particularly railways, have been suspended. Numerous explosions have occurred. A Russian FPV drone encountered 2 Ukrainian soldiers while flying in free mode. Russian paratroopers are laying mines in landing zones using Molnia UAVs. .561. Soldiers from the Special Operations Forces Airborne Brigade during boarding training from the BK-16 boat and KA-27 helicopter in the Black Sea. Kherson Front. FPV-215 guard operator waited for a boat carrying Ukrainian soldiers at Antonovsky Bridge and prevented the enemy from landing on Russian shores. Sumy direction. The enemy artillery on the runway had not fired for a long time, so the Russian operators decided to share the explosives of the Ukrainian forces with the soldiers. Sumy direction. The enemy's evacuation vehicle is no longer as fast as it used to be. The Ukrainians seem to have left the door open and driven off, as if they wanted the vehicle to be destroyed. Footage of the operations of the assault platoon belonging to the BPS battalion of the 98th Guards Division. They are systematically destroying the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in the direction of Kherson. In the video, an FPV drone visits the enemy's mortar firing positions. Russian operators in the Sumy region destroyed a Ukrainian armored vehicle with a Molnia drone. In the eastern part of Rodinske, a Ukrainian armed forces BTR-4 was destroyed by Russian FPV UAV attacks. After a series of attacks, the armored vehicle was reduced to scrap. The Ukrainian armed forces destroyed a 2S-22 Bodana self-propelled gun using Lancet-type loitering munitions launched by operators at the Sever Naval Base. The attack UAV teams of the Special Purpose Unit affiliated with the Central Union Group carried out systematic operations to destroy enemy UAV teams located in abandoned buildings in the Dmitrov suburbs. In operations to liberate Donetsk territory, the Central Union Group's UAV teams are demonstrating high efficiency. Reconnaissance personnel identify and destroy dozens of targets, firing points, and equipment every day. Identified objects are immediately struck by artillery or attack UAVs. In the Nechvolodivka area, Russian UAV operators detected an enemy T-72 tank sent to counterattack and break through the encirclement around Kupiansk. As a result, an FPV attack destroyed a tank belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces. Destruction of an American M113 armored personnel carrier in the Kharkiv region. The 11th Army Corps destroyed a Ukrainian armed forces M113 armored personnel carrier in the Novoivanivka region, with several attacks carried out using FPV UAVs. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. The 14th Guard Special Forces Brigade engaged in combat with Ukrainian forces personnel and equipment within the boundaries of a Ukrainian town. A compilation of attacks carried out by FPV drones by various units in the Voskresenka regions. Operators from the 14th Guard Special Forces Brigade, 336th Guards Naval Brigade, and 5th Guards Tank Brigade are destroying Ukrainian armed forces vehicles in the 36th Army's area of responsibility. Russian troops are getting closer to Pokrovsk every day. Fighters from the Center Group rescued another strip from the Ukrainian armed forces. Everything went according to plan. The artillery and UAVs did their job, and then the infantry came in with grenades to finish the job. Kupiansk direction. A Russian drone capable of dropping ammunition dropped an incendiary bomb on a shelter where Ukrainian infantrymen were located, and soldiers who were about to be poisoned by smoke came out of the shelter one by one, dizzy. Kherson direction, Stanislav settlement. A Russian FPV drone once again exposes and destroys the enemy's trenches on the right bank of the Dnieper. Ukraine launches airstrike with drones. Ukrainian drones attacked an electrical substation in Sergiev Posad, Moscow region, in the early hours of the morning.
Это не гроза, я думала гроза, нет, это не гроза.
Да вот второй БПЛА прилетел.
An example of coordinated work by tank crews was demonstrated by tankers from the 37th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Vostok Military Group. During an attack on the defending enemy, the crew fired while on the move. This requires special professional skills. The warriors' mission was to suppress the activities of the Ukrainian forces at one of their most important strongholds in the southern Donetsk direction. Russian infantry faced enemy units in machine gun nests, mortar positions, and armored vehicles hiding in the forest. As a bonus, it is worth noting that fire from a moving tank has a powerful demoralizing effect on enemy personnel, both effective and impressive. Objective monitoring of the destruction of Ukrainian forces' shelters using FPV drone calculations by paratroopers in the direction of Zaporizhia. Snipers affiliated with the Ivanovo airborne forces are stepping up their combat training in the SVO region. At the same time, real combat footage of well-trained snipers has also emerged.
Этаж, ориентир ваза, дистанция 340 метров, угол 1,4, огонь.
Цель вижу.
Цель. Уходим.
During a reconnaissance flight, several soldiers were spotted running around. The soldiers had already managed to set up a network, but it was unable to stop the drones dropping ammunition from the air. The second round of ammunition destroyed the satellite communication system, Starlink. A stormy night in the direction of Konstantinovsky. The 215th Reconnaissance Battalion of the 98th Guards Airborne Division of the Airborne Forces is conducting FPV calculations. During the night and early morning, Russian drones destroyed all Ukrainian pickup trucks, armored vehicles, and positions. The visual evolution of modern tanks during special military operations, using the example of 2 Ukrainian armed forces armored vehicles destroyed by drone strikes in the village of Belaya Gora in the DPR. The Ukrainian armed forces T-80, which is unusually bare by today's standards and has its gun covered, regularly receives a fiber optic KVN under its turret and ends its life with a bright flare next to a small Donetsk village. Meanwhile, the tank is well known in the media because it appeared on Ukrainian television. A few hundred meters away, the Ukrainian Armed Forces Zarmangal T-64, wrapped in several layers of various nets and grills, burned under the strikes of Russian FPV drones despite its additional armor. Two professional soldiers from the Russian armed forces, dressed in camouflage uniforms, are advancing toward Ukrainian positions among the bushes. At that moment, an enemy drone appears, and they calmly take cover. However, they keep their sights on the drone, ready to open fire and shoot it down if it detects them. They are not rushing to shoot down the drone because if they fire, their position will be revealed. So they are calmly monitoring the drone. The two soldiers' composure is striking. Share your thoughts in the comments. A Russian drone destroyed a garage and the vehicle inside it in the Kupiansk direction. Russian fiber optic drones suddenly appear in front of enemy vehicles and destroy them without giving them a chance to escape. Systems such as REB are useless against fiber optic cables. That is why the Russians cannot stop the Novgorod Prince Vandal drones. Russian drones have destroyed Ukraine's logistics. The crew of a Molnya-2 attack aircraft belonging to a Special Forces unit attached to the Central Military Group destroyed the crew of a Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV in the direction of Krasnoarmysk. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Russian Armed Forces FPV drones struck Ukrainian forces pickup trucks and crews one after another in the forest belt.